Doug Casey is with us now at Freedom Fest. Doug, good to have you back on the show.
It's always my pleasure, Danielle. Thank you.
You have a brand new book out called Speculator. I'm one of the few that's holding an edition. It's not out yet fully, right?
It's a pre-release edition.
Pre-release.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the book in a bit, but first let's talk gold. We spoke back in December when you had called the bottom. You were bullish on gold, and here we are. The metal and the stocks have really taken off. Yeah. How do you see things?
I think that we're at the start now. It's a confirmed start of another major bull market, and we're on the cusp of the Greater Depression that I've talked about for years.
Yeah.
If you look at what started happening in 2007 and 2008 as the leading edge of a gigantic financial hurricane, and then from 2010 on, we were in the eye of the storm, I believe that this year, before this year's over, we're going to enter the trailing edge of the storm, which is going to be really chaotic. It's going to be much longer lasting, much more serious, and much more different than what we had in 2008 and 2009. And one of the characteristics of it is there's going to be a panic into gold.
What will be the catalyst for that storm?
Well, who knows?
I know there's a lot of catalysts to choose from, but what do you think will propel that storm?
Someplace out there is a flock of black swans the size of pteranodons that are flying around. I don't know which one's going to land. Perhaps it will be the collapse of the Italian banking system. That's kind of in the news today. Could be. It's impossible to tell. Most of the banks in the world are actually bankrupt, and the governments, you've got to remember, have been creating continually trillions and trillions more currency units, and at some point those currency units are going to move out of the financial system where they're creating bubbles, a super bubble in the bond market, a bubble in the stock market, and they're going to go into the consumer economy and jam up commodity prices. I'm long a lot of commodities right now. No, this is going to be a catastrophe of world historic importance, I think.
That's a big statement, Doug.
Yes, it is. Well, we'll see. If we're back talking together next year,
yeah.
Call me on it. I'll either be right or wrong.
Yeah, it's scary stuff.
It is.
Scary stuff.
But you know, actions have consequences. Cause has effect, and if the governments of the world can create trillions and trillions of currency units in these circumstances and something bad doesn't happen, I'll be surprised.
It's also a very important election year, a lot of uncertainty surrounding this election. How do you think it's going to play out?
Listen, I hate to sound gloomy because I'm an optimistic person. I personally believe that the future is not only going to be better after we get through this hump,
okay.
Not only better than you can imagine, but better than we can imagine. But Hillary is a total and complete disaster. She's a representative of the deep state and corrupt through and through. I don't support Trump, but I hope he wins, that said. And I think he will win. I think he will win because people are very fed up. They just want to change. Also, by the time the election comes around, I think we're going to be in the middle of the financial storm, and Donald presents certainty. And when you have chaos around you, since most people know nothing about economics, he looks certain, he's been successful, they'll vote for him.
It's amazing though. I remember 1 year ago, he was here at Freedom Fest. He was a speaker here. No one thought he had a chance.
I thought he did.
Well, you're one of the exceptions, but you know, when he came out, no one really thought he had a chance. And here we are today. So really the rise of Trump, we saw the rise of Sanders, we saw Brexit, like there's a stronger message here on a global...
Sanders is another symptom of what's going on. I mean, here we have a hostile, mildly demented old man, and he got almost as many votes as Hillary did, and he came from nowhere. It shows that people are very unhappy.
All right, let's get back to gold here a second. You still preferring the gold stocks over physical gold or vice versa?
You've got to remember that gold isn't an investment. It's a safety hedge. It's money in its most basic form. It's the only financial asset that's not simultaneously somebody else's liability. So I buy gold. I think it's going way up, but I buy it for different reasons than I speculate in these mining stocks, which are still very cheap. And I want to emphasize when I say that, yes, they're going higher because these trillions of currency units are eventually going to flow into this little nano cap area. But mining itself is a crappy industry. It's a ridiculous industry. It's not like in the 19th century where you found a gold mine and it was a gold mine. Now you're discovering a liability.
So what stocks are you really liking?
Well, I hate to say things like this simply because people often remember the name and they buy things without really knowing why they're buying them. But Brazil Resources is one of my favorites. Management is the most important thing, and Amir Adnani, I think he's going to be the...
He's going to come on our show tomorrow, actually.
Well, Amir's going to be the Ross Beatty of his generation.
Wow, big endorsement.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I'm wrong because it's easier to be correct about people and their character than it is about the market in general. So I feel very good about Amir.
Good. All right, let's talk about your book, Speculator. What motivated you to write this one? You're a bestseller. You have a lot of books under your belt. Why a new book? Why now?
Because you can say things in a novel that you cannot say in a nonfiction book. And this is the first of a series of 6 books that are intended to reform 6 unjustly besmirched occupations as our hero proceeds through them. And Speculator is an education in the gold mining business, in economics, and revolutions in Africa, which is something that I've learned something about.
We're going to get you to sign it, and we're going to have Kitco readers enter a chance to win one of these limited editions of these books. So.
Fantastic. Well,
and for those non-lucky winners, go out and get a copy.
No, it's actually a very good read, and the people that have read it and endorsed it.
Yeah, you have an endorsement from Ron Paul here. So.
Well, yes, and a whole bunch of other people, because it's actually a good novel, not just a nonfiction book in disguise, which it kind of is.
Casey, I always love when you stop by. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Daniela.
Daniela.
It's always a pleasure. And thank you for watching our coverage here from Freedom Fest. We'll have so much more for you, so be sure to stay tuned to Kitco.com. Thanks for watching.